Well, hello everyone, and happy Thursday. Welcome to Elegant Sentiments Today. I'm Sheryl Abernathy, and I'm the owner of Elegant Sentiments. And this is our weekly card share number 66. So let's go ahead and get started crafting a little kindness using some Lisa Horton products and some Spellbinder products today. So here, as you can see, I've got some of Lisa's matte blending inks. I have Spice Plum, Deep Ocean, Antique Pink, and Tourmaline Blue. So those are the colors that we're going to use for today's card. And then I've got, for my embellishments, on my sample, I use the Fashion Opal, but I think for the card this evening, I'm going to switch it and just use Fashion Bella, which is like a soft pink. And so that's going to be the embellishment we use for the card. And then for the sentiment, more hot foiling. I love my hot foil. So I've got the curved everyday sentiments. And I like these because these are just two separate plates and then a die to cut them. So you can foil all these sentiments at one time and then cut all of the two groups at together. So that is really nice. That's our sentiment for today. And then the main star is going to be the Bloom and Berries layering stencils and the 3D embossing folder. So those are the products that we're going to be using. So let me go ahead and get started. I'm going to bring in my Ultimate 2 with my tacky mat and excuse me, and we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to move this back a little. I apologize for the glare from my tacky mat, but it's a little dark today, so I couldn't rely on the daylight to help me out. So let me show you the sample of the card that I did make using that product. So this is the card. It's a 5x7 card today, and those are all the elements, what they look like when we get them all together. So to get us started, I'm going to bring in a piece of cardstock. This is 4.5 by, what is it, 4.5 by 6.5 to fit onto my 5x7 card. You could make it 5x7 if you wanted to, but I just wanted to have a little bit of border around my card. So I'm going to line my paper up here, try and get it as straight as I can. And that looks about right. So I'm going to go ahead and put that down. I need to wash my mat. So I think what I'm going to do is put a little piece of tape up here in the corner to hold my paper down, because I forgot. I intended to go wash this mat before I went live, and I just totally forgot about it. So shame on me. But that's not going to be an issue at all. It has some stick, but just not as much as it would normally have. Oh, you know what? Before I do that, I want to put a little bit of antique pink ink around the where the flower is going to be. I'm going to put it on there kind of like a C, and then a backward C, I guess. Just, I want it really light, but dark enough that you can tell that it's there when I'm done adding the flowers. So I'll be going around this a couple of times to add this pink color. And just like I said, just kind of a backwards seed. So this part is going to remain white. And put a little more on there. Got to watch my fingers. Oh, I'm going to have to pick that up now and make sure I got it lined back where I want it on my stencil. But that's okay. We're just getting started. And I think this is going to be probably just about right. You can barely see it, but you'll know it's there especially when I start with the flowers. So that's for our little background. And then let me pick this up. Okay. And I'll put my stencil back on here. Okay, that's that thing. I think that's about where it was before. It may be a little off, but not much. Okay. So now we're starting with stencil number 1. And for this stencil, it's going to be picking up these, some of these pieces, this little part here for that attaches to that flower, and then this part here. So I'm going to split using Tourmaline blue and then the antique pink for these. And then this little part is a stem going to that leaf. So I'm going to use Tourmaline blue for that as well. So I'm going to use my smaller stencil brushes for this one, for this part, so I can separate the colors where I need to. And let's see, this part here goes to the flowers, so that's Tourmaline blue, and that goes to the flower. And then this goes to, grab some more of this ink. This goes to the flower, this part, and that part are the little, I don't know what you call them, little fronds. So I'm going to color those antique pink and bring that in. Get my antique pink here. And color that. If you're watching this as a replay, which I think you will be, because it doesn't look like there's anybody live with me this evening, which is certainly understandable. There's a lot of bad weather going around the country today, and just hope everybody is safe. Not having to, we had a tornado warning in the middle of the night last night, and I was awakened around 2:30 with the sound of the alarm. So that was stencil number 1. And then we'll go on to stencil number 2 and put more of the leaves on. And we're going to use the Tourmaline blue for our leaves. And just at the base, I'm starting with that, the base of those leaves, have them be pretty dark, and then just feather that color out from the base all the way around on all the leaves. And so it's a pretty easy stencil to do. But yeah, as I was saying, that the weather, we had tornadoes come. I don't think anything actually touched down, but we had the warnings and the sirens went off in the middle of the night. And of course, I had a hard time getting back to sleep after that. I did manage to make my way to the basement because those sirens were pretty loud. So I figured I better pay attention and go ahead and go downstairs. And then I got down there and didn't have my glasses. I had my phone, but it wasn't doing me any good without my glasses. So I have a TV down there. My grandkids use it more than I do, actually. So I was able to watch the news and see what was going on. But I'm just thankful that nothing touched down that I've seen yet. I haven't really watched the news yet today, so I'm not quite sure. But anyway, we're continuing on with these leaves with this Tourmaline blue. That's really kind of a blue-green. It's a really pretty color. I like it. Don't use it that often, but I just thought for this color combination it would work out pretty good, and I think it did. Okay, so I think We've got color everywhere on stencil number 2 and on to stencil number 3. And here we're going to put down the base for our flowers. So I've got 2 different colors of flowers. One is the Spice Plum and the other is the Antique Pink. And so I'm going to very lightly add color. I want to make these 3 flowers Spice Plum, and these 2 are going to be the Deep Ocean. So I'm just going to ink up my blending brush, and then got a little scrap piece of paper here. I'll take most of that ink off and then just ink that up lightly. I'm starting at the center, trying to start at the center and work my way out because I want the center of the flowers to have the most color. So as we move on, I'll be adding more color to the center of those flowers as opposed to the, oops, I just dropped something. Let's see what it was. It's probably something I'm going to need for sure. Oh, it's one of my brushes. There it is. Sorry about that. So this little baby one is so small. I'll just lightly ink that up with the Spiced Plum. Try not to move my stencil around. And then I'll do the same thing for the 2 flowers that are Deep Ocean. And grab my brush here, pick up a little bit of ink. I'll take it off using the, I did not mean to put that there because that's where my fingers typically hold the stencils. I have to be careful not to ink up my fingers. But I'm just putting a little light layer of Deep Ocean on this flower and this flower. Okay, and that is it for stencil number 3, and we're on to stencil number 4. Adding more detail with every layer, and we're still working on these 5 flowers. So I'll just go ahead and add a little more color. Trying to keep them kind of light, but we're adding another light layer of color so that the outline of those petals will show. And then we'll do the same thing with the Spice Plum. I'm using the ink that's still left on the brush because there's still quite a bit of ink on that brush to add this next layer. And I think I could probably get all 3 of them done without re-inking. Let's see. I don't know. Might not have enough for this one. But we'll see, because there's a lot of ink still on my brush. And looks like we're going to make it. Just making sure I get all the little nooks and crannies on this one. Okay, so that's it for stencil 4. The colors are starting to take shape a little. And we're on to stencil number 5, working on more of the leaves. And let me grab my Tourmaline blue. And I'm going to ink these up the same way I did the other ones, just doing deeper color at the base and then feathering it out all the way to the tip of the leaf. And do that for all of the leaves. And some of these little ones, I'm just I'll just make them one solid color because they're so small. You can't really differentiate much color with them. But for the bigger ones, we'll be able to add some little shading at the base and feather that on out. And we'll do this one. I think we've got everybody. Oh, here's one I'm missing. There's a lot of detail in these stencils, so you just have to make sure you catch everything. But it's one thing I like about them. If you miss something, you'll see it later, and you can always go back and pick it up. So we're continuing on. We've got we're more than halfway done. This is stencil number 6, and we're adding in these antique pink fronds. So I'm going to bring that in and just stencil those in with my brush, just making them a solid color. Going both directions. This is a little small area, so I want to make sure I get that ink all the way down in there. I love stenciling. It's very relaxing. And I like too that, if you sometimes, I'll have colors in my head and I think they'll look really nice together. And then when I get done, it's like, not so much. But the fun part is you can just start over if you don't like the color combos. Okay. And that's it for stencil number 6. Almost done. Stencil number 7 is just the flower centers. And we'll do those are spiced plum. Those are the 3 flowers that we did in spiced plum. And I want those centers nice and deep, so I'm going in with full color on those centers. Okay. And then the last stencil, number 8. We're going to add some detail to our flowers and to the leaves. So I probably could use a smaller stencil brush for this, but when I made my sample, I decided to wing it. So I'm going to keep going. Some of the spaces are a little tight, but it's okay. I'm just making the center really dark and then carrying that accent out towards the edges a little lightly, but enough that you can definitely see it. But the center is, I want it markedly darker. Trying to get the color as even around as I can. And we'll go on to the next flower and do pretty much the same thing. And then I have to be careful because that's one of the smaller spaces where there's not a lot of space. And same for this one, there's not a whole lot of space right here. before you're bumping into the accent for the leaf. So just have to be a little careful. And I think that's all of the spiced plum flowers. And then I need to do the same thing for the deep ocean flowers. And just bring that color in. For these, I'm going to start at the top because it's easier, because there's some accents all around it. So it's easier if I go down this way. And same with over here. I'll come in up here and work my way down and around, trying to stay off of that leaf there, but still make sure I get my color in. Here's where I really could use a smaller stencil brush. But we're just gonna wing it and go with what we get. There we go. And then it's time to do all of the accents for the leaves. And that'll be the end of our inking. Let me see. I'll get these first, I think. Just adding a little extra color on these leaves. They're teeny little slits, so you really have to look hard to see them. And they kind of blend in with the stenciling that's already on the paper. And then once you go over it, you see where those accents are. Now this one, you know what? For that one, I'm going to grab my little brush, because that leaf. Oh, wait a minute. Did I make it a leaf? Or is that, no, that's an accent. It's half and half. That's what it is. Let me look at that. Oh no, that's the leaf. Okay, so I need to make sure to get that more green than purple, because I went over, it looks like I went over that with my spiced plum. So we're gonna darken that up a little bit. Okay, and then I'll just continue on with this little brush and get the rest of these little accents done. I hope that if you're not a subscriber, I have a Facebook page, Elegant Sentiments Limited, and if you're not already a subscriber over there, I'd love for you to join me. I don't have many subscribers on my Facebook page, trying to get that number up, because I'd really like to be able to go live both places. And for now, I've just got my YouTube channel where I can go live. I don't have enough subscribers on my Facebook page to go live yet, but we'll get there eventually. I have faith. Okay, so that is the last of the stenciling. And there is our card. Now the next thing we need to do is add some dimension with our embossing folder. Pick this up. And be careful not to rip that with the tape. Okay, I'll get this out of the way. Okay, oops. All right, now I'm gonna wipe my hands because I think I got ink all over them. And then we'll bring in the embossing folder and we'll just line that up and run it through on this one. On Lisa's older embossing folders, in case you happen not to know, the way you tell what's the front is by looking at the thickness. You can see that this side is thicker than this side. The thick side is the front. And so in her newer releases, she has started to label the front of her folders, which is nice. But if you have the older ones and you're trying to figure out which is front, that's how you tell. So I'm going to try and get this lined up as best I can. This one takes me a little while just because there's so many different little pieces, but I think I've got it there lined up. So I'm going to hold this and run it through my embossing die cut machine. I've got a Platinum 6, and I'll run this through real quick. And then the folder just adds a lot of dimension all in the right places. I don't know if I can get it to the camera to the point where you can see. Well, let me show you the back. It's easier. You can see all that embossing on the back. So it's a nice deep emboss there. And so we'll just put this onto our card front. Now you could pop this up if you wanted. You could even die cut around it to add some more detail to it. And for this one, I think simple and is nice. I just like the simplicity and the softness of this one. So not adding much, not adding anything else to it. I'm going to add some embellishments and a sentiment, and that'll be it for this one. So I just want to make sure we get this nice and straight onto our card base. And that looks pretty straight. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and varnish this all around, just to get everything nice and smooth and looking good. Okay, and then let me run across the back, make sure that tape wrapped well. All right, and then we've got our sentiments. I chose from 2 sentiments. This one, on the sample, I did birthday wishes, and on this one, I'm going to do sending love. So that I think is suitable for any occasion. So I like to do that. Some people wait before they put a sentiment on their cards, but I make so many cards. I just have I try to make sure I'm getting a nice variety when I put sentiments on. But you can always wait and just add your sentiment when you're ready. So I think it's curvy, but it's straight curvy, I think. And I love that. Just that little touch of silver foiling is pretty. And then for this one, I'm going to use these. I thought I would try. I might end up not liking it, but since I have these that are like a soft pink, and I use that antique pink to go around the sample, before I put the flowers on, then I thought, well, maybe a soft pink pearl might look nice. So let's see. I used a middle-sized one here. And you can just kind of put these on however you like them, or not at all if you're not into embellishments, but I always add something. I try to anyway. And up here, I'm gonna add there. And let's see, I need one of these mid-sized ones for up here. And a couple babies. And then we'll add a couple over here, and I think that'll be, well, that one, no, that one is, I'll go with this one. Oops, you don't need to be in there. There you go. Okay, so there you have it. This is the Blooms and Fairies Layering Stencils and Embossing Folder by Lisa Horton Crafts. I thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you'll find some time this week to craft a little kindness for yourself. Thank you so much for joining. Have a fantastic week. I'll be back here next Thursday. And until then, live graciously. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.